Welcome to the Logosphere. This is Chris Stites, here as always with J.D. Roof.
Good evening.
And this evening we are going to talk about steroids, specifically the hot topic of steroids in sobriety. Are steroids something that someone can take and be sober? Are steroids popular in the recovery scene? Have you observed anything from your experience in sober community?
Are you asking me?
I am.
Yeah. I have actually. I've seen guys, because there's this idea that you get all the junk out of your system, whether it's hardcore or street drugs or, abusing prescription medication or alcohol, and then you get that out of your system, you detox, and you start working out. And I actually am a big proponent of that.
It's an interesting stereotype, and I'll probably get myself into trouble right out of the gate here, but what I've noticed about newly sober people, it's not uncommon for men to get sober and then to get really fit and to become really obsessed with the gym, and for women to get fat.
Interesting.
Initially, this is like the first year, men go way overboard, hitting the gym,
Dang, you're starting to sound like a sexist.
And then the women will usually kind of reel it in.
Well, but that's
like
usually
3 months, into sobriety. It's just
like
kind of
what's that saying in college? The freshman 15.
Yeah, there's like a rehab weight thing.
Yeah, it's like the freshman 15.
Yeah,
like when somebody joins college.
But for men, it's like this. Oftentimes, this exercise obsession that takes hold early on.
I had that, because I got into recovery at the early age of 20, 21 years old, right? And what else are you gonna do? Just get jacked and tan, right? We called ourselves the Swole Patrol, and you're trying to get an 8-pack, and you're just trying to, you're just going at it hard. And I had a nickname. I was called the Supplementologist. But I never took steroids. I just would mix like glutamine and creatine and
now, why didn't you take steroids?
I saw a group I was hanging with. I saw a bunch of guys I saw a line get drawn in the sand, and there were guys that were like pro steroids, and it's okay to take these steroids and get jacked because they don't really affect you from the neck up so much so, and they're just for your body, and they're not really bad for you, and they're really good for you, and yada yada yada, right? And there was other guys that said, you know what? No, that's a vain attempt. You're going way too hard. It's going to screw you up.
Yeah. So what are the pro steroid arguments?
Well, I mean, you can
be sober and take steroids. Here's why.
Yeah. So
you pointed out one, which is it doesn't affect you from the neck up.
Is that true though? I mean, because you're somebody. We're going to turn it on you now.
Okay.
You've taken steroids.
I have.
So let's go through the list of steroids you've taken while a sober recovering person. So first, I mean the bread and butter of steroids is testosterone. Right, but is that really considered a steroid?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
So just getting is that TRT?
TRT is testosterone replacement therapy.
It's a different thing, right?
It's not.
It's not. Oh, it's kind of the same thing.
The idea though is that TRT, you're just replacing what is a natural
occurring hormone.
Yeah, but
right.
So testosterone is a naturally occurring hormone.
Right.
At a certain age for men, the testosterone levels naturally decline.
Okay.
And with that comes, that's why, men get a gut, and that's why men, lose some sex drive and, lose focus and things like that. So TRT is generally...
Is that what you took, TRT?
No.
You took testosterone.
Yeah, but testosterone
is that, no.
Testosterone is the male sex hormone, and it's what is given to men who are undergoing TRT.
What went through your head to justify, because you were a young man when you did this.
Yeah.
You weren't losing your testosterone.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were in your 40s like, oh man, I got to get back in it. Right, I don't got any sex drive. What was your justification? Think about it. Go back in time. Think about what went through your head to make you go, yep, this is right. I'm going to shoot this. Where did you shoot it? In your ass?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to shoot this shit in my ass and go just get jacked. Sober.
Yeah. My justification. I mean, I think that, I had been going to the gym for my entire sobriety.
Right.
And, I was a person. I'm like I'm a musician. I'm an artist type. I've been interested in sports to one degree or another throughout the course of my life, but I've never been like a meathead or a jock. But when I did get sober, I was, like a lot of people, someone who became more interested in the gym as a result. But then recognized the own limitations of my strength and was interested in trying to see if I could...
did you try like creatine monohydrate?
Yeah.
And it just wasn't enough?
Yeah.
No explode, the niacin, all that stuff. None of that tickled your pickle.
I mean, I didn't go...
You wanted a stronger drug.
Yeah. And I think the way that I really sold it to myself, though, was around, I don't know, just that drive in me to, I imagined if I was on this sort of these increased levels of male sex hormones, that I would be, more of a force in my life, that I would have more ambition, that I would have more drive, that I would have more courage, that I would have more strength.
So basically, you were just doing it for pussy.
Yeah, I mean, if I did that,
because truth is a woman.
Yeah, but it definitely backfired. It's not a. If there's any reason I stopped doing it, it's because steroids are not really consistent with a healthy sex life.
Okay, so you take testosterone. How long did you take it?
Well, usually people cycle.
Right,
They
cycle
call it
on and off.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So if you see these, these fitness influencer, they eventually get to a point where they just stay on all the time.
Right. But you cycled on, cycled off.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was, 16 weeks or something like that on a cycle.
But did it affect your from the neck up? Like, did you feel euphoria when you took it?
No.
You just got stronger.
You just got stronger. I mean, there's not like even though you inject it, there's not an immediate feeling from it,
like heroin or something. Yeah, speed balls,
anything like that. It's an intramuscular injection rather than an intravenous injection.
Oh, so it goes straight in your muscle.
Yeah.
Does it hurt? Like, because you get muscle shots.
It's thick, viscous. You have to stick this 1.5 2-inch needle like deep into your glute, and then slowly push this viscous, quite a bit of.
How many times a day?
No more than once a day. Usually, I think once a week. There's, and I'm not an expert.
There's
enough.
different doses.
There's
right?
different, and then there's different anabolic steroids. Testosterone again is the bread and butter, and then people will then take things on top of that that will produce different effects.
Okay.
And some are oral. D-ball is one that you hear thrown around a lot, which is Dianabol, which is a commonly taken oral steroid. So you'll take that on top of.
So you took testosterone and then D-ball.
And D-ball or Anadrol is another popular, generally oral steroid. The big one that is kind of the kind of catchiest big name in the steroid world is Trenbolin. So
Trenbolin, okay. Yeah, I've heard of all those.
And some of these, they come in there's different types. I forgot the language around it, but some you can take like once a week, an injection once a week, or there's a type that you take every day. And, the every day would be preferable, but you're having to, jab this big needle. So
let me frame this. So here you are, a sober man, right? You have severe addiction problems with pretty much anything, right?
Yeah.
And now you're shooting up multiple needles in your butt to get jacked. And justifying it because, hey, it's going to make you more of a force in life.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And, the reasons why.
It wasn't insecurities?
I mean, arguably.
Arguably.
But you overcompensating.
But you were in good shape though, right? You had like a decent body.
I was already
you were already kind of athletic. I mean, and I will say, and I didn't say this when you were saying about your athletic ability. Like, you are an excellent ping pong player. Like you are one of those type of guys that can pick up a paddle or whatever, a ball or whatever, and you're really good. Yeah. And you kind of piss people off. Like you've wasted me at ping pong in the past, and I'm like, wow, I thought I was a good ping pong player, and then I play Stites, and I'm like, feel like a bitch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
so you already-
reasonably have natural
you have-
coordination.
yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of like that too.
Mhm.
Like I'm a jack of many trades in sports. So okay, so did you
but it does affect you in the neck up in a
what
different way.
what affected you in the neck up?
Well, what they call it is like roid rage.
yeah. Did you experience that?
I did, but it's just and this is probably why it's the biggest sobriety. Well, there's probably a few reasons why it's a sobriety risk, but the roid rage is an escalation of emotions. So things like when someone will take testosterone, estrogen I think it's made from testosterone.
That's the female,
sex hormone.
Yeah.
So what there are estrogen blockers that you need to take in addition to testosterone and other steroids.
Okay.
So there's like gynecomastia. I think I'm getting the pronunciation wrong on that, but it's men who take steroids will, if it's not done properly, will actually start to grow breasts because your estrogen levels go so high.
Right.
That's why there's like this acne all over your back.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Wow.
To some extent. But
were you not taking the estrogen?
No, I was.
You were. Okay.
But still, it's like you're fucking with your hormones.
Yeah, and how do you take estrogen blockers? You have to shoot
it's an oral pill, and you just get it. You take it. Try to dose it right, but it will reduce the amount of extra estrogen that's produced. But because
you have a higher level of testosterone, an abnormal level.
Yeah, it'll also create an abnormally high level of estrogen.
Oh, right.
And you try to block
Offset
one.
that. Okay. So you don't get those titties.
So you don't get the titties, and you can become overly emotional. So the roid rage can also become like sort of quick to sadness or negative emotion, things like that.
Did you experience that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So how long was your run on this cocktail?
I had like 2 runs.
2 runs.
2 runs. Yeah. Like an initial run.
How much weight did you gain?
I mean, I got up to like 235 pounds. Like.
And just for the audience, like you weigh what, 180 something?
Right now I weigh 193 as of yesterday.
And you're 6'1".
6'1", 6'2".
6'1", 6'2", yeah.
Yeah.
So you were a big boy.
So yeah, so another 35, 45 pounds.
And maybe when we edit this video, we'll flash a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be kind of cool.
And
so
more,
people could see.
Yeah, and more lean and more muscular.
Right.
So it does. The thing is, they do work.
They do work, and that's why people get so hooked on them.
Yeah.
Right.
And so many more people take them than I thought before I ever took them.
So
now when I go to the gym or when I'm looking on, people that are on movies,
yeah, you can tell.
You can tell. It's more often than not. There are some pretty. It's like you look at strongmen from 100 years ago. These like black and white pictures.
Yeah.
And it's a guy who's just like looks like you.
Yeah.
He's got a like a leotard on, and he's got a dumbbell in his hand.
Yeah, and
but
they don't
with these traps and these
but they're kind of heavy set too, though.
Yeah.
Some of them, right?
Yeah.
Like the bigger guys,
Yeah.
But they're just really strong.
Mm-hmm.
So you do the cycle. You probably feel good the first cycle, right? You're like, damn, I'm getting some gains,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But then you have to cycle off, and then when you cycle off, everything has to sort of, and then you lose your gains, and you have to readjust to. And then there's things like there's HGH,
Human growth hormone, right?
HG.
Did you take HGH?
Yeah, and the HGC. So there's another thing that what'll happen is your testicles are like the main factory for testosterone production in your body.
Right.
So the reason there's this idea of people's nuts shrinking when they if they take steroids, what it is that because all of this excess of testosterone is being detected, your testicles basically just shut down. They stop producing
because they don't need to.
They don't need to because there's an excess.
Right.
So what'll happen is if they go offline for too long, they just don't come back online.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So that's a danger.
Yeah. So there's another HGC is another sometimes a substance people will supplement cycles with. And what that will do is it'll sort of send a signal
to turn the balls back
to keep
on?
the balls online.
Damn.
So they don't,
So you're just in this constant flux.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a constant dance.
Yeah.
And See, my argument. I want to throw this out there. My argument against it is it's the ultimate pursuit of vanity, though, right? Like, when you're trying to get sober, you're trying to get away from self. You're trying to give back and try to help, somebody somebody else that's struggling, that's, shooting meth on the street or whatever it is, right? You're trying to, like, the whole point of us recovering is to go into the trenches with these guys and try to help them get sober as well and, like, be of service. But, like, the pursuit, like, to be shooting all this stuff up, that I think that was the argument that stuck with me, and it kept me away from steroids, or in early, recovery, right? And it just seemed like it was nihilism on steroids for literally, right, for yourself. And that's just, like, so anti-recovery, right? Like, how can you get caught in that loop? That must have been the catalyst of what took you out.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the end, right?
Yeah, but I don't think, for me, I don't think that was actually the most dangerous part about it.
What was the most dangerous part? Coming down?
No. I think that, especially, for me, being connected to a sober community has been essential,
right,
to living a sober lifestyle. And a big part of being involved in a sober community is living honestly. Now, I can justify, say, steroid use in sobriety, but I know that, if I were to go survey 100 sober people, whether they thought it was sober or not, that 95 of them are going to say they don't. So now I've got a secret.
And did you do that? Was it like you had a secret?
Yeah, I just felt different. I felt like a bit of a fraud.
But there were other sober people that knew about it.
There were. So I get a few.
You had an inside circle.
I know. I can tell a couple people. So
that were justifying your BS, basically.
Yeah,
right?
That would agree with it.
And probably think that I'm like an idiot for saying that you can't have steroids sober, right? But man, that's a trip, dude.
Yeah, but TRT is testosterone is a steroid, and TRT is the same substance taken the same way. The only difference is that it's only supposed to be taken in dosages that replace naturally diminishing levels of testosterone, rather than creating a surplus.
Yeah, and it's prescribed by a doctor.
It's prescribed by a doctor,
and anybody can get it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, probably.
pretty much, right?
Probably really.
Well, you just have to have a low testosterone production and improve that in a blood test or whatever, and then you can get it, right? I think it's that I wouldn't even consider that taking steroids, because if you have some issue. That's, like I have the issue with insulin.
Yeah.
My body can't produce insulin.
But everyone has that issue,
Yes, over time.
You and I both have. I'm sure if we went to a, man clinic down the street or whatever, they would find that we have levels of testosterone
that
already,
that
are below what would be considered normal levels, and we would qualify for.
But not at 20 years old.
No.
You're on the up on that, and that's when you were doing it.
I was already... in my early 30s.
Oh, you were in your early 30s. So this is like eight years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting, because I just, I guess I never saw that part of it. I didn't realize that you went down that rabbit hole that deep, because that's pretty deep. I mean, don't you think? Like, reflect on that.
And it's a weird thing. Like, you can't. People start to notice.
That you're too jacked?
Yeah, a big change in your physique. And then some people will ask you publicly, like, yo, are you juicing?
Right.
And that's, that's a question you don't ask somebody. There's all these, these sort of social media profiles where people walk around in gyms and they say, like, natty or not, and try to get people to answer.
Right.
But it's a very taboo question to ask someone.
So, I mean, looking back at it, obviously you can't reverse the past. But would you do it again?
It's
like what's the place it put you in your psyche in? I think that's why I stayed away from it. Sober.
I really liked spending a time in my life getting as strong as I could.
Right.
There was something about, and getting as physically strong as I as I could. There's a guy, Eddie Hall, who's an English strongman, and he brought up a point. Part of the reason that he loves the sport of strongman, and strongman, are you familiar with that? What that is?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those guys are beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not bodybuilding. It's not powerlifting.
They're like
it's
moving
just
cars around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because it's not a team sport. It's an individual sport. It's all on you. And it's very concrete. It's just about who can lift the biggest weight off the ground.
Right.
You know, there's no judges involved. I mean, there are, but it's not like there's no subjectivity. It's about as concrete of a achievement as one can possibly achieve. And for me, during that period of time, I did love that project of simply, and that's what for me, I tried to pride myself in not being vain about it. I, of course, loved to see an improvement in my physique, but I was not a bodybuilder. And I look down my nose at bodybuilders, even though I can appreciate the extreme amount of discipline it takes, you know, but I was not trying to get an 8-pack. I was not, you know, I was simply trying to see how strong I could get.
But it was dangerous, and it bit you in the ass.
I will not be doing it again.
Ever.
And
there's a reason why you won't be. Like,
Yeah.
what's the reason why you will not do that sober? And why you would probably tell somebody that's new in the program, that just got a junkie off the street, that's just shaked and baked, they're done, and they're in the gym now, and they're doing saunas and steam rooms and working out. Maybe they're taking glutamine and creatine, you know, and they're getting in good shape, and they're going, you know, this isn't enough.
Yeah,
Chris, you've done it, man.
The
Come
risks far outweigh the rewards.
So you truly believe that?
I do. I just think that hormones are they're an essential building block of our whole anatomy, and you start tinkering with that. It's such a, you know.
I mean, can't you see that like you're playing God a little bit?
You are,
right?
And I don't think we really understand all the different consequences, you know. But this could get us into a real dangerous territory. You know who else likes to play with hormones?
Who?
The trans community.
Oh yeah, and they do.
They do.
The blockers.
I mean, that's what if you are a female to male,
right,
trans person, that's what you're doing. Is you're on TRT for life. You are cycling for good, and so it's same thing. You know, it's the same drug taken to change who you are, you know, at a very fundamental level.
Right. And it's funny because like
that they call HRT, so it's hormone replacement therapy. That's what any trans person who's receiving that type of treatment,
right,
is seeing a hormone specialist. And
you know what I think I can't remember what there was, like the detransitioners, you know, the ones that have gone through all the hoops. And then they realize, you know what? I just was kind of confused at 18 or 15 or whatever, and I'm just really just a dude. And you see them, and they have, like, especially the females, when they've been taking testosterone for so long, they have the receding hairline and the beer belly, and they don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, especially I think they call it virilization for. So and
I'm not laughing at them. I'm just saying, like, that's dangerous.
Well,
those
changes, because you start to go through a male puberty,
right? And
things like a lowering of the voice. So women who take steroids, and they do, any fitness freak women out there you see on social media, many of them are taking steroids,
right? And
if you know, they take different types of steroids. Some of them will take low levels of testosterone as well. But there's Anavar is a popular one that women take because it has a reduced amount of virilization as a byproduct of taking it, which means that there's less of a chance that you're going to have your voice lowered or get the clitoris will actually elongate, you know,
like a penis,
because that's what would
that's what
essentially what would happen, you know, as a fetus, it's the same, you know.
It's doing the same thing.
It's the same basic material. I think that it's actually that all zygotes start out female, and then they either, you know, at that early stage, then we'll get the right signal, and then we'll transition into male or stay female.
So the penis punches out.
So the penis pushes through.
Damn. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Maybe we wrap it with that. Like, I would highly not recommend doing any steroids unless unless there's some medical reasoning behind it, right? But the problem is there's a lot of weird doctors out there too that'll just write scripts left and right. And I just could see. I mean, you're lucky you're not dead, right? I mean, your relapse was insane.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing is that aside from risks to sobriety, steroids have a whole host of, but now
like look at Ronnie Coleman and stuff. Like look at these guys. Like a lot
of them die. There's some pretty horrific stories.
Like heart problems and all sorts of weird crap, and it, like the ball cut off thing. I wouldn't want that. I'd rather my balls cut off slowly in slow motion than in high speed.
But how about you? A little TRT? It could really put a pep back in your step.
Well, but the funny thing is because I have an insulin pump, and I'm kind of lucky with that because that's kind of like an anabolic signaler or whatever. I don't know how it's framed. I don't know all the technical shit, but I've been hit up at gyms when I first got sober because I was I'm
slaying your insulin, right?
No, people wanted to buy my fast acting insulin off of me because of the fact that you can eat a lot of stuff. And if you shoot up a couple units of insulin, it like sucks it up to your muscles, and it's almost like a steroid. I don't think it's considered one, but
serious bodybuilders
they use it. They add that so they can get just sucked up, and it breaks down the glucose in your blood, so it doesn't store. So it's funny because when I work out and I really get committed, I mean, you've seen just in the last month and a half, I've lost like almost 30 pounds and I'm starting to like get definition back real quick. And I think a lot of that is because I have this insulin juicer on me that's just 24/7 and it just cuts it all down real quick for me. So there is a benefit to that, I guess. I can see it's very alluring to a sober man. It really is. It's you get jacked and
will you give me like a homie hookup then?
Do
you want to talk prices on camera? Or do you want to wait till we?
But the problem with injecting fast acting insulin when your pancreas is already producing all the insulin you need, so the tea you just drank.
I'll keep it.
No, but I'm telling you, it can kill you.
Yeah,
it'll put you in a coma.
Yeah, but that never stopped me.
But think about this real quick, and maybe we'll wrap it with this. So your pancreas is working fine, right? And every time you eat or even smell, your body starts secreting insulin just to get ready to digest this food, right? And then let's say you ate a bunch of pancakes. Your body produces just enough insulin to digest those pancakes. And then you go, oh, well, I want to get that extra couple units of insulin. So you shoot it up and your body doesn't know. Right, the pancreas is like, no, so you get really low and you can get, a low blood sugar.
That's
attack.
why you can like train me. You can be my supervisor. Make sure. The dosages are all right. You're an expert.
But I wouldn't be able to because my pancreas doesn't work. Yours does.
Yeah,
that's a problem. And I think it can stop your heart. I think it'll just kill you.
We'll just start slow then.
So anyways, I mean, part of the reason why we did this video is because we did a short on testosterone. We want to kind of build with the audience on this show.
It's rampant in the sober community. I mean, at least,
and it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic.
And it's a thing that people don't really talk about. It's very popular. And it's a gray area.
It is a gray area.
It's a major gray area.
Because the standard saying is, I don't take anything that affects me from the neck up. Yeah. But steroids kind of does. But so does caffeine and nicotine.
More so, probably. If you
have
any of those things, it's very noticeable.
Right. So I'm still. You haven't convinced me. I am I think it's just too much of a pursuit of vanity, and it's too selfish and self-centered. It's like selfish and self-centered to the core, right?
Bro, I think you're just scared.
I'm just
You just don't have what it takes.
Well, leave some comments. Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if there's anybody that's watching our show that like might know a little bit more about this and might have some input. That'd be great. Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
Until next time.
See ya.